The further south you travel in Chile, the quieter the world becomes. Clouds drift low across the fjords, and the road ahead feels as if it belongs to another time. This is where the Carretera Austral begins, a 1,247-kilometer journey through some of the most remote landscapes in Patagonia. I've wanted to travel this road for years, and now I am finally here, ready to follow it all the way to the end. This video is the first part of a 2-episode series, tracing my journey from the very start of the Carretera Austral to its final kilometers in the far south. My trip started quietly. I left Puerto Montt behind and boarded the first of 4 ferries that would carry me deeper into Patagonia. After almost 10 hours of traveling, I reached Chaitén, a small town with a dramatic past. In 2008, the volcano above it erupted without warning. The entire population had to be evacuated and large parts of the town were destroyed. Even today the scars remain. Silent valleys, grey trunks, a landscape still recovering from the force of that eruption. To understand the scale of what had happened here, I followed the trail up the volcano in Pumalin Douglas Tompkins National Park, moving through a forest of dead trees and new green growth. A place caught between destruction and renewal. Higher up, the air grew colder and the views opened. At the summit, I found a crater lake on one side and on the other, a panorama stretching all the way to the fjord. It was the first moment I truly felt the scale of the journey ahead. From Chaitén, I continued south to Futaleufú. The river here is legendary, with deep canyons, bright blue water, and some of the strongest rapids in South America. I joined a full-day rafting trip, tackling category 3, 4, and 5 rapids that threw the raft into powerful waves. I fell into the water twice, but the rescue kayaks were there instantly. A demanding river, managed with flawless organization. My journey then led me to Puyuhuapi, a small village on a fjord surrounded by rainforest and mountains. From here I visited Queulat National Park, a place where the forest feels ancient and the air is filled with the sound of water. There are 4 trails you can walk, each offering a different view of the landscape, and all of them can easily be done in a single day. I began early, alone on the path, brushing through spiderwebs and listening to the distant rumble of meltwater. And then Ventisquero Colgante appeared, the hanging glacier of Queulat, a mass of ice suspended high above a cliff, with a waterfall dropping hundreds of meters into the valley below. It is one of those places that makes you stop without thinking, a moment of stillness in a landscape shaped by ice and time. The next day I visited the thermal baths by the fjord, small pools of warm water with views across the bay. I even stepped into the icy water of the fjord itself, a sharp contrast that woke every sense. A moment to breathe before traveling further south. Further south, the landscape opened into wider valleys, and the road led me to Coyhaique. the largest town on the Carretera Austral, surrounded by steep hills and long ridgelines. I did not stay long, but from the viewpoints above the road you can see how the valley stretches out in front of you, showing how the landscape keeps pulling you further south. From Coyhaique I continued towards Villa Cerro Castillo, traveling the way many people do in this part of Patagonia, by hitchhiking. In the end it took 6 different rides to cover just 95 kilometers. Cerro Castillo itself was the toughest hike of this part of the journey, a long ascent through forest and loose rock, climbing towards a high basin surrounded by dark, steep walls. The higher I went, the stronger the wind became, and the trail felt more exposed with every step. At the top, the ground leveled out and the view opened, revealing a turquoise lake beneath the sharp towers of the mountain in Parque Nacional Cerro Castillo. A place that feels raw and remote, and one of the most spectacular views in all of Patagonia. Those first days on the Carretera Austral set the tone for everything that followed. The quiet crossings, the shifting landscapes, the sense of traveling deeper into something vast and wild. It was a beginning that felt both gentle and full of promise, a hint of what the rest of the Carretera Austral might hold. In the next episode, I continue deeper into Patagonia, where the landscapes grow wilder and the distances feel longer. The road leads past bright blue lakes, hidden glaciers, narrow valleys, and villages that seem to exist at the very edge of the map. There are boat journeys, long hikes, wooden walkways above the water, and views that make you stop without thinking. It is the part of the Carretera Austral where the sense of remoteness becomes real, and where the journey feels bigger with every kilometer. Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me on more adventures around the world.